though he actually was a pretty decent coach too.
Yeah,
he's most known for just that playoff rant.
And even his son, Jim Moore Jr., hasn't really been that bad. I mean, now he's an assistant now, but he did get a crack at head coaching job here several years ago. And
he had an NFL head coaching chance, and then he coached at UCLA.
Right. I don't know. Is he still at UCLA?
No, they fired him, I think, last year.
Okay. But I think he did end up getting back on because he pretty much was a pretty good offensive mind out there. I mean, there's some out there that can actually fill that void, but anyway, that's not the reason for our little rant here talking about Jim Moore. Let me make one. Yep, that one. For whatever reason, we've got other personalities that like to adjust the cameras in here for our YouTube and our Facebook, and I just want to like that to them.
It's that
if I could reach that high to get to that particular person, and
names will not be named.
Yes, but he's on from 1 to 3 weekdays. I'll just put it that way. That's like, why? It's there for a reason. All right. That so much for the administrative rant.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Little house cleaning.
All right. Yeah. Okay. We'll leave it at that. But anyway, the Major League Baseball deadline happened to end at 4:00. And the Atlanta Braves, they're making some noise. I mean, I'm assuming, well, no, that's Nick. You're a Nationals fan. I forgot.
So the enemy, really.
The enemy. And the Nats, well, I thought they would be a little bit more
Everyone thought that they would be better. I think that when the season started, a lot of the predictions had the Nationals winning the division pretty easily.
Yeah.
And they're struggling to hang in third.
Right.
And so they're not sure what to do because they've made the playoffs the last 3 years with basically this roster.
Right.
So they decide to stand pat because they know that they can win with this group of guys. But
can they do it 4 years in a row?
Clearly,
3 years?
Clearly not. I mean, if they make the playoffs at this point, the way that the Braves are playing, unless the Braves just colossally collapse back to earth.
Oh, I don't see that.
Which I don't see that.
Right.
They're a wild card at best.
Yeah.
So you're trying to make it, but you're not winning this division.
But there's what I remember seeing here the other week when I was watching Fox Sports with the Cubs and the Cardinals. They gave a little graphic showing there's like 6, 7, 8 teams that are actually still in the wild card hunt.
Right.
And I mean, within a couple games of each other. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room.
There isn't. And I think if you really think you can make it, you've got to make a push, which is why a lot of teams made the trades that they made today on the trade deadline. I do think that, you know, there are also some teams that go, okay, well, maybe we can't really make a serious run this year. So they gave up players to see if they could build up, you know, prospects and things for the future.
But then you got teams like the Cubs, you know, who are doing well this year.
Mm-hmm.
They pick up Cole Hamels in a 4-player trade, I believe, with the Rangers to get Cole Hamels, who I think, in my opinion, from living up in Pennsylvania and when he was with the Phillies, I mean, he had those several great years. He was a Ranger to begin with. Then he went to the Phillies for the money, which I don't blame him for.
Don't blame him. He was really good with them, too.
And he was.
He's brilliant.
And then he went back to the Rangers. And now all of a sudden, he is now a Chicago Cub. One of those last-minute jockeying deals that were going on. Rangers, they got a few prospects out of this. And, you know, I don't know because I try not to follow the American League too much.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you always hear about the Yankees and the Orioles. At least I do. And what they're doing and stuff. But it's like, okay, it's another division. I'm a National League guy, always have been, and especially when I root for my Cardinals. But, you know, and the Braves are nearby, so you kind of have to see what the Braves are doing. But I think between the Braves, the Cubs, and the Dodgers, at least in the National League, those are the ones that have made the most noise and are looking at trying to make that push toward the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's not.
I could be wrong, but
no, you're right. It's not surprising. The Dodgers,
they just throw around money.
They throw around money, but they feel the pressure all the time to win. It's been so long since they've had a World Series victory. They really feel the pressure constantly. The Braves obviously didn't expect to be in this position at the beginning of the season, but now that you're here, you might as well just push it all to the middle of the table and see what you can get. So, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. And then the Cubs are in it, but they have had highs and lows this season. They want to try and balance that out and see if you can make a solid playoff run again and see if you can win another World Series. So, yeah.
And I think my good old friend Joe Madden, who is from Central Pennsylvania, I don't know if you can actually consider, because Joe is in his late 50s. I think Joe's around 59, maybe 60. He may have already hit 60, but he is just a baseball guru of a mind. He brought Tampa out of nowhere to make their run several years ago. And then the Cubs hired him away when the new family bought the team from the empire that had him forever with the Wrigley family and stuff. And Tribune Company owned them. And that was probably one of the best moves that Joe could have made in going over to Chicago. And it's like, I think he still has a little bit of energy in there.
He does.
And to make something happen. And then going back to an old Cubs manager who was a well-respected player, and he's been a manager in Dusty Baker. And I read a story earlier today that the Nationals have had second thoughts about why they fired Dusty Baker.
They shouldn't have fired him.
No, they shouldn't have. Dusty Baker is an outstanding player, coach, manager. You can't find anybody that has been so well-versed and has had that conversation with his players. Because a lot of managers, if you look at, don't really have that interaction with their players. They basically create a lineup card and that's about it. And they let the other coaches do the talking for them. But Dusty Baker, and even with Joe Madden, because I know Joe personally, actually is a player's manager. I mean, he will interact with you. He will give you pointers, tips, what they could do to, better their swing or whatever. It's just, Yeah,
because they're guys that have played the game also.
Right.
I mean, you do have some managers who haven't played. They understand the game from like an outsider's perspective,
right.
and that's valuable too. But I think a guy that can really make good decisions, uses instincts on who's playing today and who isn't playing today. I think that's one of the things that makes Joe Madden so great is he uses analytics.
Yeah.
But he doesn't just only use analytics. He knows when to make a gut call. And that's hugely important. I think Dusty Baker's another guy that really excels at that too. And they should never have fired him. I said that at the time that was a weird thing that they did when they let him go.
And it's not a race thing, because I know Major League Baseball is pretty much getting the same kind of heat for not having enough minorities in the game. Dusty Baker is just a mind.
And even that's just more of a recent thing, is because that wasn't a complaint that people had back in like the 80s.
No,
it's more of a recent thing that we don't have enough minorities in the game. And I think there are ways that Major League Baseball can remedy that, but I think a lot of it too is just like it's really, really.
It's still an old boys game.
Yeah, and it's also kind of expensive to get into baseball in the way that if you have a basketball, you're fine. If you have a football, you're fine.
Right.
Baseball, you need a bat, a ball, you need gloves. You
gotta have some skills.
Yeah, and possibly someone to really show you the ropes. I don't think you need anybody to show you how to play basketball.
Right.
At least to start out with.
Unless you get my boy Michael to show you how it's done.
Yeah.
I saw this last night, and I was going through my phone and I was checking some messages and stuff. And of course, I get all these Facebook messages that come up, and a friend of mine sent me, and you may have seen this, I don't know. There was a comparison between Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
As always.
Yes. And you and I, we've had this discussion on the air as well as off the air, about who the better player is. And, I will always root for a Jordan, no matter what. And it was like, the more and more they kept showing the different stats and everything, as far as how many times Jordan has won in the playoffs, championships versus each other, and defensive player of the year, and player of the year even. And it's like there was really no comparison whatsoever. I mean, Jordan just smoked them.
Yeah, with the awards, I don't know if comparing the awards particularly help, but I think for me, when I look at it, I look at like scoring, I look at passing, rebounding, things like that. And in the areas that Jordan is ahead, he's not that far ahead. Like LeBron's going to catch Jordan before it's all said and done.
Right. But actually, LeBron has had more playoff appearances than Michael Jordan. That was the one interesting stat that I thought was unique.
He's been to the final 7 years in a row.
Right. And it's like, LeBron, I think he will do it. Maybe not immediately with the Lakers, but he will have the Lakers in championship form before his 3 guaranteed years is done.
For sure.
Yeah. It may not be this next season, but you never know. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Right. And we cannot stress how badly constructed that Cavaliers team from last year was. And this Lakers team is better than that. It's not a great team, but it's still better than that.
I'm still looking for one more big signing by Magic Johnson and the Lakers before the season even gets underway.
I don't know who that could be. They just don't have that much cap space. I mean, they've really
creative financing can go a long ways.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you tend to have less room to move around in the NBA because the contracts are so guaranteed.
Right.
Like in the NFL, how they were able to get Julio Jones's money was they took some of the guaranteed money from later contracts and moved it up.
Now, speaking of Julio, he did report to camp, right? Okay.
He did.
All right. And I see that Sam Darnold finally signed his rookie contract with the Jets.
He did, which I think is they've really got to work out some of this other stuff, because they had the rookie pay scale so that we wouldn't have this stuff happen.
Right.
But
there's still one player out of this year's draft that has not signed. There's 256
I think
players.
Roquan Smith with the Bears.
Right.
Out of Georgia. He hasn't signed. He hasn't signed.
He's the only one left out of 256 players that were in the draft that has not signed.
But a lot of it has to do with this language in the contract. And the Bears are being really, really cheap about this. I think the Bears should just go ahead and sign the guy, because it's not like he's wanting more money. He just wants more money guaranteed. It wouldn't hurt the cap. You know what I mean? It's still a rookie deal. Just pay him.
Yeah, but I mean, the Bears have kind of taken that cheap route ever since one of the kids that grew up with my boys played at Central Mountain High School and went to Penn State and got drafted by the Patriots. And then there was a quick trade before the season started, and he became a Bear, and he was with the Bears for 9 or 10 years, and he still got the foot because he's kicking them through the uprights for the Niners. Robbie Gould.
Right.
And it's like when they dropped him in 2015 in the middle of the season, and Robbie has not, I think he may have missed 2, maybe 3 extra points. And normally he does not miss. He actually had a long streak going where he hadn't missed. And I know he had that same, he had a streak like that going last season with the Niners. And the Niners are just ecstatic because I've talked with Robbie's dad, he was one of my coaches with one of my schools when I was an athletic administrator in Central PA back in the 90s. And it's like, Robbie can do no wrong with the Niners. And
I mean, look, we are spoiled in that we have a lot of great kickers in the league.
Right.
And so we think that all of this stuff is easy.
Right.
But you just have to ask the San Diego Chargers, who have 2 kickers who cannot hit anything.
Yeah.
How hard that is. I mean, you don't drop a guy like that when you have someone who is that automatic. I mean, I think the Chargers have, I forget the name of one of the kickers that they have, but Robert Aguayo is the other one. Aguayo can't hit anything.
Yeah.
He was automatic in college. And since he's been in the NFL, the Chargers are his 3rd team. Like, he can't hit anything. This is, it's not as easy as it looks.
Much done.
Like, we take it for granted because so many guys are so good. It's not as easy as it looks.
But you've got to have a good, offensive line that gives you that extra needed protection to get that kick off. But yeah, it's like, Robbie's enjoying it. He makes his home in Central PA yet and flies out there, on Tuesdays, and he's with them the rest of the week, and then comes home, if they don't have a game on Monday night, and he's loving it. And it's like, okay. And his brother, Beep, or Chris is his rightful name, Gold, is the special teams coordinator for the Broncos. And, yeah. And he was in my twins' class of 2007, and got on at Virginia, played for them, the Cavaliers, for 4 years as a kicker, was in the NFL as a player, and then the Broncos, that was his last team. They asked him to stay on, and then he eventually moved up to become a coordinator, and he's enjoying the life out there. And then Gary Brown with the Dallas Cowboys, he had a short playing career for the Cowboys. He's from Williamsport, PA, and played at Penn State. So there's a few people I have contacts with in the NFL, but it's like, with this, kind of coming back full circle to what we initially started talking about, teams trying to finesse and finagle and find those right ingredients. I mean, that's like, the owner here. I mean, he's got the perfect lineup as far as with sports here at the radio station. You and I and Nick, is an extra bonus. But it's like you can't find a better sports team than what we've got here.
I agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Boss, do we get a raise? Not. Yeah, I know.
Literally anything would be better than what we're making. We'll just leave that there.
I'll leave that comment alone. Inside story on that one. We'll leave that one alone. Anyway, we'd like to encourage you to call in at 423-800-8949. We like picking on the boss because he is great at giving it right back to us, whether we want it or not. By the way, this gentleman right here will be on with us right after the news from CBS with The Clutch. With Keon Rose, do you have an idea what you're going to talk about tonight?
I'll talk about some of these trades here and the Braves making a push. Stephon Diggs got a contract extension, and it's really interesting to me when guys around the league get contract extensions. So some guys get it and some guys don't. So
why him though?
I
can't figure that one out. I mean, he's not a bad player.
I think he's a very good player. I don't know if he's worth the extension they gave him, but
I didn't see those numbers.
He's incredibly fast, and I get it. You want to keep your receiver around long term since you just signed Kirk Cousins to that deal. But I feel like you could definitely upgrade that position in terms of having a guy that's like a above the rim kind of guy.
I'm glad you brought this up with Kirk Cousins while we still have a little bit of time here left.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that he shows the Redskins that they screwed up.
But he can't. Because it's not about whether or not Kirk Cousins is any good. It's about whether or not Kirk Cousins was worth $75 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
He's not. To answer that question, he's not. They're not paying Alex Smith
and
that.
You're a Redskins fan.
I am a Redskins fan. And I liked Kirk Cousins. Like, this is not like me. I thought he was very good with us.
Yeah.
But that's no player has had an entire guaranteed contract from top to bottom. And, Kirk Cousins got a little bit of Tony Romo in him in that he throws that late interception.
Tony Romo.
Yeah. He's good for 3 quarters. He's good for 3 quarters. And then that last one, you just go, it's anybody's guess.
Tony made the best decision of his life.
Being a broadcaster?
Yeah, going into broadcasting.
He's so good at it, too.
He really is. I mean, it shocks a lot of people in the industry how good he is. But it's like, he knew that he wasn't going to be able to hold on to that starter's job. He didn't want to go play for another team. He wanted to be a Cowboy for life. And he got his wish, and now he's making more millions with CBS. Yeah. We got more coming your way here in just a little bit. It's the Locker Room Show with Sam Jordan and my great friend here, Keon Rose. Back for more in a moment.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2,
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
Assessor of property Marty Haynes denied accusations that he gave special tax break favors to GOP candidate Esther Helton. Jonathan Mason, Helton's GOP opponent, says it's not an accusation, it's just a fact. Haynes telling the press he will take the matter up with the comptroller's office. A mobile home fire has been ruled an arson. Investigators with the Insurance and Safety Fire Commission in Georgia say it happened at an empty mobile home on Airport Road in Tryon. A reward of up to $10,000 is offered for info that leads to an arrest and conviction of the arsonist. And a hit-and-run victim has been ID'd as 62-year-old Donald Rackley. The CPD says a passing driver spotted Mr. Rackley's body on the side of the road just before 8 a.m. Monday on Norcross Road. The CPD Traffic Division believes he was hit by a driver who then sped away. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, Action News now.
David Toulis. I made the move 1 o'clock every weekday afternoon, 1 till 3, Nooga Radio.
92.7 Chattanooga weather. Lots of clouds with another round of scattered showers and storms rolling through your nighttime hours. Overnight lows closer to 70. For the midweek, continued unsettled through Thursday with cloudy skies. Areas of showers and thunderstorms likely as well, with highs each day closer to 80. Tired of the pressures and hassles of car shopping? Come see what more people are making the short drive to Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Lafayette or online at jacksongm.com. That's Jackson Chevy Buick GMC in Lafayette. And I'm Soares E12, Chief Meteorologist at your 4.
Nooga Radio 92.7. I got my business up and running, and it's already expanding. I got lucky. Lucky because I found Signal Voice and Data. Signal Voice and Data can incorporate all of my business information sharing and communications seamlessly, keep my costs down, and let me work more productively with endless connectivity no matter where I might be. That's called working smart, not hard. Go to signalvoicetn.com and bring the future of communication to your business today. signalvoicetn.com.
I live, work, and play in Chattanooga, the scenic city. But when it comes to my next car, truck, or SUV, I'm Alabama bound. Fort Payne, Alabama, and Landers McClarty Ford. Big city selection of new and pre-owned vehicles with the small town price and friendly service. Now, I'm not knocking my hometown, but when it comes to my next ride, I only go to Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne. Their selection is huge. Then if I can't find what I want, they'll find it for me with the same low price, same great service, and only a short drive away. And I can go online to look around before I leave the house. Got that next dream ride in your head yet? Yeah, you do. Get a head start at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. Don't just dream it, find it at Landers McClarty Ford of FortPayne.com. That's right, Landers McClarty Ford of Fort Payne, Alabama.
Nooga Radio. Roar into Talladega.
Hello? Who am I speaking with? Eric, you're our winner. Really?
You'll receive tickets for all 3 races between the Camping World Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and the Monster Energy Cup races.
Holy cow.
In addition, you'll receive a 2-night stay at the Microtel Hotel and restaurant accommodations at 2 area restaurants.
Nooga Radio.
Roar into Talladega.
Nooga Radio
92.7.
Your NASCAR racing station. Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Do you hear that? That, my friend, is not what you're thinking. That is the new 2018 Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Yeah, Indian. Indian motorcycle is more than a bike. It's an experience, an American icon. And Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga is the only place you'll find their new 2018 line. Are you ready to ride? Join the club. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign, 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Call 423-875-3600 if you're looking to expand your professional look of your business. Then consider the vast opportunities that are available when you locate your office with the Raines Group family. Remember, it's location, location, location. And the Raines Group has the location for your professional office. Check out the spaces for lease at Executive Business Park on the Lee Highway. Small or large, we will be able to suit your needs with the Raines Group. Call 423-875-3600 for the business professionals with the Raines Group.
Chattanooga Paint and Decorating would like to remind you it's so hot out there. And guess what? Your deck is taking a beating. It's probably starting to show wear. If you're hosting friends, get your deck entertainment ready with a fresh coat of stain and protect it from heat, sun, and rain with a quality sealant. If you want to get to work, Chattanooga Paint and Decorating want to help you. For exterior paint, stains, sealants, and supplies, stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today on Hicks and Pike across from Valvoline or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Nuga Radio. Are you brain dead? Still voting for pathetic liberals? Take 3 hours of Sean Hannity from 3 to 6.
Nuga Radio.
Then call us in the morning between 9 and 11.
92.7
Nuga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nuga Radio, 92.7 Sports. Now.
Show continues here on this Tuesday.
Forget things.
All the days just kind of start mashing into one giant day.
Yeah. I've said this numerous times. When you're a kid and you're in school, you can't wait for the last day of school. And it's like, it seems like long and drawn out. But when you get to be an adult, which you are, I will give you that accolade.
Well, thank you.
And I needed to.
It only took me 28 years to grow up.
Yeah. But you hang around Russell Stroud, so it kind of takes you back a little bit. But anyway, but when you become an adult, it's like it just flies by. And it's like today is the last day of July. And it's like it just seems like it was a week or so ago we were celebrating the 4th of July instead of 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true.
I just it's hell to get old. I'll just tell you that. I'm almost half or twice as old as you are. And it's like, enjoy and savor those moments, please. Because when you do hit the 50s, and it doesn't matter anymore. It just, when you turn 50, AARP is all over you, wanting you to partake of their services and their offerings and stuff. I mean, on your birthday, it's like when I turned 50, 2 years ago, and this next month coming up, it's like, are you serious? And then what really adds salt to the wound is when you go to the buffets and then, would you like your senior citizens discount, sir? And it's like, Beth is like busting a gut laughing. And it's like, how old do you have to be a senior citizen here? 55. And it's like, no, I'm still good.
Not yet.
Don't push it. But, it's just one of those things. And then the boss man, he's 60. And it's like, he's been a fat psychwop for years that I've known him. And it's like, he refuses the senior citizens discount, even though he's a senior. At least he doesn't have the walker yet or the wheelchair.
Yeah,
I'm giving him time on
scooter.
that. Yeah, the Jazzy.
Yeah, there it is.
Do they even still make the Jazzy anymore? They probably do. They may call it something else.
It might be called something else, but they're still out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping I never find that day coming anytime soon. I mean, when I thought and feared that I was going to lose one or both of my feet last year because I have diabetes and neuropathy, it's like, Doc, there's got to be an alternative here. I will find a way to climb the steps to the press box. I will crawl or do whatever. May have to have an assistant carry my bag of gear and stuff, but we will find a way to make it into a broadcast booth. I am determined on that. The day that I can, just shoot me and put me out of my misery. I'm being serious. I mean, Harry Kalas, if I could go out like he did, getting ready to start the season opener for the Phillies in Washington at Nationals Park, he died an hour before the broadcast was supposed to start. And it's like, if I don't die in a studio or in a press box somewhere, I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to come back and haunt somebody because
I hear you.
Sports has been my thing for 35 out of the 38 years that I've been involved in broadcasting. And it's like, if I don't even want to go out in the middle of sex, I'd rather go out in the middle of doing a sports broadcast or DJing. If I had my druthers, I'm not trying to be morbid or anything, but it's, this industry has meant a lot to me. And, that's just what I would like.
Doing what you love.
Right.
I mean, how else should you know?
And then trying to mentor, fine young men like you, to kind of follow in the footsteps that I've been able to do. I mean, this guy right here, folks, I'm telling you, if you get a chance to listen to him doing play-by-play, I mean, he does great with his show, The Clutch, coming up here next after our show. But I tell you what, this dude here is going to make it to the national spotlight. You will see him either on ESPN, Fox Sports, or CBS Sports in the future. This young man is going to be there, and you can say, hey, I remember when he was on Nooga Radio in Chattanooga, and look at him now. I'm telling you, this guy is going to do that. I have no fear about that. I'll be disappointed if you give up broadcasting later.
I never will. I've pretty much put all my chips in the middle on this one. So here we are.
Even though the boss man can really push that button hard to make you want to think twice. Why am I doing this?
Yeah, but it would never be, I would quit broadcasting entirely.
Yeah.
It's just
find a better boss.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I mean, Keon Rose has got a future laid out for him. It's just a matter of him going through the different paths to get there. But he will be there. I've been there, and very talented young man. But, we've got a lot of things. There's been a hiring that took place at GPS. Jana Eichelberger coming over from Tennessee State. She was the women's basketball assistant coach there. She was actually a part of the men's basketball program at Tennessee State, which she was one of 7 women that were an assistant coach on a men's basketball program in the NCAA.
Oh, wow.
And she is now coming to Chattanooga, and she's going to be the new varsity girls basketball coach at Girls Preparatory School, or GPS. So we want to welcome her to the Tennessee Valley. And, it seems like GPS and Tennessee State have a little bit of a relationship there because the athletic director is also a 76 alumnus from GPS.
Okay. Well, then that explains it then.
Yeah, it does. And so Jana, we're hoping to get her on to talk about what her plans are with GPS and the girls basketball program, and continuing that rich tradition there that has been in place for a number of years. And hopefully we'll also get to talk to Jay Watts, who's the athletic director at GPS and also the boys basketball coach, and just kind of get an inside look at what's going on with GPS athletics. So I've reached out to those 2 individuals, and hopefully we'll be able to have that here in the next week or so, if schedules permit. I mean, not everybody wants to go out and do something at 7 or 8 o'clock at night to talk to a couple guys like us, but we give them an opportunity. Thursday night, we're going to have Adam Seiler from 101 Personal Training that's going to be here on the show, talking about how you, as an individual, you may not be a sports person per se, but talking about how you can stay in shape. And if you, as outdoor centric as this area is, I mean, it's rich in outdoor events going on all over the place, not just the Ironman, but with triathlons and with Chattanooga Track Club and what all they do for the area, how you can get in shape, if you wanted to get into cycling. It's like after I rode the bike there during the waterfront triathlon here several weeks ago, it's like I actually would like to go and get another bike again and start getting back into that, because it is healthy. Yeah, I've been bit by it. Maybe a little pinch right now, but I can't swim. I mean, I'll wade around the water. I mean, I'm like
you, man.
I just never learned as a kid how to swim. I just kind of tread in there and flap my arms a little bit.
I swim well enough to not die. There's no competitiveness in how I swim whatsoever. It's simply a survival mechanism.
Okay.
That's all it is.
I can't even say that. And that's sad. I really missed out on that. I don't know why. It was never a part of me growing up over in Central Arkansas to want to swim. There was no backyard pool or neighborhood pool or anything like that. I mean, we had the city pool that was like 5 miles across town from where I lived at, but it's like, and then you had the country clubs and stuff. And of course, couldn't afford that at that time, or at least when you're the 13th of 14 kids in a house.
Yeah, then,
there's
corners start to get cut. Yeah.
And it's like, I just never got into it. And I made sure that when my boys, with the twins, are now approaching 31 and my other kids, I made sure that they learned how to swim, because I did not want them to miss out on that, especially when they get to be like my age. And it's like, if you get that opportunity, please do. The YMCA, I'm sure, has various programs. I used to be a YMCA board member up in Pennsylvania. And it's like, there are so many affordable programs out there, and sometimes even free, to learn how to do those kind of things. And, take advantage of the resources that's available here, within the Tennessee Valley, or wherever you may be listening or watching, the show right now. Take advantage of it, because when you get to be my age, it's like, I wished I could have done something like that. And it's one of those things. But, what were we talking about?
Well, I think we somehow got off the topic of GPS. I don't know how we got from GPS to here, but yeah.
But anyway, the triathlon I was talking about.
Right.
Yeah. If I knew how to swim, I probably would try it, because I used to be a pretty decent runner. And especially when I was a state constable up in Pennsylvania, you had to hit a certain time because of speed and agility and stuff, trying to chase somebody down. So I've never really lost that speed. I still, even though I'm 245 and stuff, I could still move pretty good. May need the O2 tank afterwards, but it's still not a bad thing. So I feel like I've got that part where it wouldn't take a whole lot to get me into good shape. And the bicycling part, that first hill coming off of Riverfront Parkway from downtown there where we were set up at, I thought that was going to kill me right off the bat.
Oh, really?
I had to stop at the top of the hill, and the girl says, that was there along the course, she said, "Are you all right?" And it's like, "Yeah, I'm just getting started." I said, "I'm only broadcasting this stuff." She says, "You're really huffing and puffing. They're pretty good." And it's like, "Yes, I am." I said, "Just give me a few moments and I'll be on my way." She says, "Okay." But we really had fun with that. First time in over 20 years riding a bike.
Yeah. We only had 3 different presidents ago before when the last time you rode a bike.
Yeah, you and LeFew, I mean, you just were all over me on that. But you know what?
But you did it. You rode the bike.
Yes, I did. I mean, there is video proof of it.
There's video proof of it.
And photographic proof, on cell phone cameras.
So I didn't think you could. And will I eat my crow over this? Yeah, I'll take a nibble.
But you know what? I didn't really give you guys a lot of gruff over this, and proving you wrong. I mean, I did a little bit during the broadcast and stuff.
Here's the thing, too, is because obviously I threw out the first pitch at that Lookouts game.
Yeah.
And leading up to that, I said, well, after all the grief I gave to Sam, I better throw a good pitch or I'm never going to hear the end of it.
But you know what? I never got to talk to you about that because it was like several weeks ago. How did that go? Did you make it to the glove or did it bounce and hit?
It went directly into the glove, man. It's on Facebook.
Okay.
It's on Facebook. Video proof on Facebook.
Okay. I wonder who we're going to have do the next game that we have coming up in August. We have another game like that where we can do the first pitch. I'm thinking if it doesn't interfere with our high school schedule and everything, because I got to look to see what that exact date is. I know it's coming up here in August because the last home game is the last several days of August, and then they're on the road for a final road trip. But I don't know whether I'm going to have LeFew do it or whether I'll do it.
It's got to be one of you two.
Yeah.
And you know that there's a lot on the line. You
I know
that there's a lot of laughter that could potentially be coming your way.
Oh, yeah. But here's the thing. If I go out there and do it and I screw it up, I know I'm not going to hear the end of it from either one of you two cats.
You will not. But if Nick goes out there and screws this up, God forbid, I will haunt him forever.
Because as much as you guys were all over me, it's like, I don't know if he's listening or not. If he is, Nick, that the decision is to be determined here in the next couple of weeks, but we'll let you know.
Because me and Nick are the same age. I will remind him for the rest of his life.
Yeah. You remember that day? You remember that day?
Yeah. In fact, make it Nick, because I want this to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure. Poor Nick. Don't forget to join the Breakfast Blitz every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. Nick, he gets his jollies on talking about UT sports and everything and bashing the H, which we won't say what the H is, but I'm sure you can figure it out. But has a lot of great fun. And I know I've been trying to get in here for over a month, and it just, whatever, either ill or on the road or out of state or whatever. And it's like, I'm thinking he's thinking that I've abandoned him, because when the three of us are together, it's like laughing nonstop, but we still get serious and talk about the subjects at hand and everything. And even when you and I get together, it's always fun. And it makes the show, when you don't really have a whole lot to talk about, gives you that Seinfeld approach, talk about nothing,
Right.
So that's okay.
But also, you get a little bit of arguments and disagreements going on too.
At least I don't have the boss calling in and saying about the kneeling issue.
It's the one sports topic that he knows.
It's the only topic.
And it's just, man, lots of stuff has happened between then.
I want to tell him, get a life.
It does
stick
get to
to
be
his
excessive.
Politics. If he can do that. I'm sure he can. He actually made it on Glenn Beck yesterday.
He did.
Yeah, live. And it's like, okay, how much did you have to pay the producer to put you on the air? Oh, you know what he would say after that. But we were talking about Jana Eckelberger, and look where we've landed. But one other announcing news, Tony Engel, who almost 6 years to the day from when he was hired at Dalton State, has stepped down as the head coach for the Roadrunners basketball program, effective tomorrow. And a national search will commence immediately. Assistant coach Alex Ireland will assume the head coaching duties in the interim. He is going to be going into an area where it's more of a lifelong aspiration, where he's going to be leading the Dalton ward of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as their bishop. He's been their bishop since June of 2017.
No.
And he went through one full season as the head coach as well as the bishop. And it's like, I've been a minister in the church. I've been preaching since 85 throughout the years, mostly with youth. And it's like trying to mix that and sports. It's not always easy.
That's tough.
It is very tough. And so he is going to step down and to allow Dalton State to have someone that can devote a lot of time to the program. And Dalton State is being left for the new coach with some great, players, and the program is going very well. Coach Engel has done a great job with that, but he's cherished the many memories and friendships, according to the press release, that he's made over the past 6 years. And so it's going to be interesting who will be taking over that program down at Dalton. And so we wish Reverend Engel the best, in his endeavors with his denomination. But let's switch gears here a little bit, and I'm going to delve a little personal. So I'm just, you're part of the Seventh Day Adventist, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And one of the things with the Seventh Day Adventist, is you don't do anything typically on Friday nights at sunset to Saturday night at sunset. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that varies. It's work specifically that you're not supposed to do.
Right.
But yeah.
But when you're trying to mix your religious beliefs with, into the sporting world, that's not always an easy thing.
No, it's not.
And it's like, that's one of the things you and I've had a discussion about, and I'm hoping I'm not infringing on your personal area, and I'm not trying to, but it's like, you look at players that have went to Brigham Young University that's had to make the tough choice. They play on Saturday afternoons or Saturday nights. And then when they graduate BYU, Then they've got to make a tough choice as far as whether they're going to play on Sunday or not, because of the Mormon church. They don't do anything on the Sabbath day to keep it holy and everything. And I respect that. I mean, being a minister and everything, you do not ever want to put your personal religious beliefs, to be possibly compromised and everything. But, with someone with trying to make that decision, whether to continue doing their aspiration of being a coach or a player and with their religious beliefs, I mean, that's got to be tough. How do you determine, how that's going to transpire and how do you make that choice?
Honestly, it's really personal. I can't speak for everybody. I think you try the best that you can. And then you have to sort of figure out what has more weight, I guess. It's really a tough call to make, and honestly, it's sort of between you and God. It ends up being that,
Right. Well, I hope I didn't run our friendship over those questions.
No, I think we're still good.
All right, that's good.
We're still good.
This man here is coming up next. The Clutch with Keon Rose right after CBS World National News, and I'm sure that he will give you all the 411 on all the Major League Baseball trades and stuff and the interesting notes that come from that. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Have a great evening. See you.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio. Digital FM 95.